sexy. I mean, you got a 5 second review.
So, quite the win for you guys tonight. Before we get into obviously the strong performance in the second half, right out of the gate, you scored 7 of the team's 13 points, had 2 of your 4 blocks in that first 5 minutes, and really just out of the gate, a strong performance for you. So, coming into the game, what was your mindset? What was working for you right out?
So I'm well aware of like the standings in our conference, and I've just been looking at where we're trying to finish, and we're trying to fight for a bye right in the first round. So coming into this game, I knew that regardless of what happens, whether we get the bye or not, this is going to be our last home game, and I wanted to make it special because I'm not going to be able to play here ever again. This is my last game here. So I knew that coming in, and I knew how important this game was. If we lost this game, we had no chance of making the bye. So I just wanted to come out immediately, set an example for my teammates, and try and bring some energy on defense, because I can score on offense and my teammates see that and maybe not be as energized, but when I'm making those block shots and getting those tough rebounds, I can tell my teammates feed off that. So that's important for me to do, and do from the get, like you said.
Now you have another home game. Feel a little excited about that, a home playoff game?
Oh yeah, definitely excited. Just trying to see the best spot we can finish in. We know we need to go out here, have a strong performance against IUPUI, tough team, beat them, and then we got to hope for some other things to happen. But we're just really hoping for this bye in the next game, and then keep this momentum rolling into the playoffs. Try and make a run in March Madness.
Not literally, you wouldn't stand by, but you had to stand by and watch Corbin with that performance in the second half.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so Josh is one of those guys where if the other team lets up, he's going to get hot. He's one of the best shooters I've ever played with, if not the best shooter. So it's been tough for him this year because scouting reports are going to be focused to take his three-point shot away because you see how well he shoots it. But today, for whatever reason, we were able to get him some good looks, some easy looks in transition as well, and he played very well today. So I'm just proud of him for coming out, not letting any past performances or anything like that keep his confidence down, just keeping the same confidence, and it showed today.
Khalil, talking a little bit about the energy you mentioned, what did the whole building do for you tonight? Because this was the loudest and most people you had in a home game this year.
Yeah.
So just talk a little bit about the building in general.
Oh, it was great, man. And I just want to say thank you to the student section. They did a good job. They came out and they showed love today, and we feed off of that stuff. You know, whenever your peers come out and support you, it's just an added factor. You want to play well, you want to perform well in front of your classmates and your peers. So they gave us an extra push, definitely. And then, like you said, the atmosphere is just one of a kind. And we're trying to bring a playoff game here. If we can do that, get double that atmosphere, we're already going to be tough to beat. But whenever we have the support of the Colonial fan base like that, it's going to be even harder to beat us.
Going into halftime, you guys were down 4. And then the second half, you guys absolutely dominated. What was the shift in the locker room like to come out in the second half like that you guys did?
I would say that our talk was very positive. We knew that we were down by 4, but we did not play very well in the first half to our standard. We were turning the ball over, missing layups, not rebounding at the rate that we can. So they were able to get some easy threes or put-back dunks that afforded them that lead. And then as you saw in the second half, every 4-minute media, we were getting stops and getting stops and getting stops and rebounding. So I think if I had to guess, we won a rebounding battle by 1 rebound, it looks like. So just staying with that was big for us.
Khalil, you came out of the game with 4 fouls in that second half with a pretty considerable amount of chunk of time left in the game. Can you just speak on the bench's effort in this one, especially in that second half of play, to really, fill the void and also, add up on the stat sheet from off the bench in terms of what happened in the first half with you guys, being able to carry that scoring load in the first half, and what the bench was able to do in that second half there for you guys.
As you look, it looks like pretty much everybody on our team is positive in the plus-minus. You could just tell, like, whenever anybody took the court this game, there wasn't any drop-off. And I feel like one thing that we did really well today was holding each other accountable from the jump. So if we saw somebody giving lackadaisical effort, or if we saw somebody blowing their assignments, we weren't scared to tell each other. And those are the things that you need to hear during the game rather than holding them after the game, because, like you said, it allowed us to come out of halftime and make those changes. So I would say that. And then, like you said, the bench just did a great job, and I feel like that's why we've been so good lately. We're going, probably like 9, 10 deep, and the energy is not dropping off. Earlier in the year, whether it be putting starters back in or taking starters out, there would just be energy drop off with our substitutions, and I think we've corrected that, and that's helped us be competitive a lot.
Khalil, now, to start off the second half, it was the 17-minute mark to about the 12-minute mark, that 5-minute stretch, 19-0 run from you guys, 7 forced turnovers on defense.
Said 19-0?
19-0 run,
Sheesh.
7 forced turnovers just doing that 5-minute stretch. I mean, so what really, I know you might just be finding out just how incredible that run was, but what was really clicking for you guys during that? I mean, it seemed like anything you wanted to do, you were able to do.
That's insane. One thing I always tell like my parents and people that I talk to after the games is like I'm so locked in during the game that I miss those nuances and I miss things like the runs and stuff like that. I would not have been able to guess that we went on a 19-0 run in 5 minutes, so I'll say that. But that's just a testament to our defensive effort. Like you said, 19-0, it's hard to shut out any team for 4 or 5 minutes. And when you're able to do that and you're making shots, you're going to be hard to beat. And I just remember we were forcing, like you said, a lot of turnovers, and we were capitalizing in transition, whether it be finding the open man for 3 or just taking the easy layup. I don't know exactly how many transition points we had this year, but I would have to say I feel like this is probably one of our higher scoring transition games. So just adding that to our like dynamic makes us very dangerous because we're already a good defensive team. As long as we can continue to get stops and run, I feel like that'll help us be even stronger.
Khalil, now, it's been, has been an easy transition for our Morris to the rise in the league. This year, though, especially these last 4 games, seem to be the best stretch that Robert Morris has played since joining the new conference. How does it feel to be a part of this team and, changing, I guess, finally getting the respect in the new conference, especially right before conference playoffs?
It feels good, man. And one thing I want to say is I feel like, honestly, our past 2 years we haven't been as successful record-wise, obviously, as we would like to be. But I think that throughout the conference there's a certain level of respect for us because people know we're going to come out and we're going to play hard every night. There were fine details that held us back in the past and still details that we have to clean up now. But I feel like because we stuck together as a team and continued to fight, we've been able to clean those up. And to answer your question, it feels good being a part of this team because we've gone through a lot of turnover in my 3 years here. And just to know that sticking with it and continuing to put in the hard work has paid off is a message that I want to carry for myself and I want to send to other people. Like, it may not look good at the beginning, but it's about how you finish. So we just want to continue the momentum we have going and finish the season strong. Thanks, y'all. Have a good night. Sheesh. All right, well, we got to try and beat that the next season. Take care, y'all.
Missed the days when I had to argue my decisions account.
The Wi-Fi's been spotty though.
That's why I didn't bother signing in this game.
Yeah.
I'm losing so much. Yeah, but I'm about to upload these videos and I ain't doing it over my 5G.
Rack.
Oh,
And I was
really?
45 minutes. I didn't get here till
Oh, jeez.
I'm clear up.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
wow.
like, man, there's a big crowd. There's a basket. And I walk in, there's empty seats.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it was lax.
okay, that's what
Yeah.
it was. So now I'll be the only car up.
Right, exactly.
Slack strong? I know they're good.
They're good. I mean, they'll have games where they get a pretty good turnout, but today was since it was like on a Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. They were
With the basketball.
get a lot. Yeah.
I mean, at least it was.
So 4 o'clock game still was,
I mean, there were fans. It wasn't anything like crazy. They still got a decent draw.
but even
Honestly, really proud of our performance tonight, second half. I thought we were excellent on both sides of the ball, offensively as well as defensively. And we were able to maintain that throughout the entire 20 minutes. Youngstown is obviously a really, really good offensive team, really talented group of guys. And I thought that we, handled their push in the first half, and obviously were able to slow them down in the second while executing really well on the offensive side.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about the energy in the building, energy from your players, the bench? What can the building do for your team in general to push you guys forward?
I think there's always value in home court advantage. I thought our students, came out. They made a lot of noise. They were engaged in the game. It was awesome to see that. We'd love them to continue to come back as often as they can, because I think it definitely helped push our guys to another level of effort and energy. And I think you saw it in some of the performance of guys, whether it was trying to contest a shot, dig out a rebound, some of those little things where maybe that crowd gives you just a little bit of added boost.
Coach, these past 4 games now, it's really probably arguably the best stretch since joining the new conference for your team and your program. So I guess, what does it mean what's different about this year's team as opposed to the past ones, and how important to the program that, going into the conference playoffs, you guys are not just hot, but beating up on the other top teams in the conference?
We have another game on Thursday. We got to be ready for IUPUI. We got a prep day tomorrow, a travel day tomorrow, and that's really all we talked about. And then after we play Thursday, then we'll figure out what's next. But we want to just try and string as many good rounds together, as many good possessions together as we possibly can, and see where that takes us. And we've talked all year long about just trying to execute our formula as much as humanly possible. And I thought we've done a good job here of late doing that, but we have to continue to do that as frequently as we can and as often as the game asks us to.
Andy, a lot of times people talk about defense generating offense. On that run, do you think that was the case?
Yeah, it certainly was. We've got a couple run-out layups, and then obviously Josh had those 2 threes in transition, which were, massive. But I thought our activity on the defensive side was really good. We talked about in the first game that Youngstown was really able to get wherever they wanted, and I even thought in the beginning of the first half we gave up a couple straight line drives that you can't give to a good team. Like, they're just going to completely take advantage of those things all the time. And I thought our activity in the gap was so much better in that second half, and that allowed us to generate some deflections and contest some shots, and then it allowed us to run out and convert offensively. And when you can get a couple easy baskets like that, a lot of times that allows you to start to feel, certainly more comfortable and more energized.
Can you speak on the bench's effort, especially in that second half when Khalil had to come out with those 4 fouls? Can you speak on what they were able to do in this game to keep the pressure on?
I think obviously, Mike is basically a 6 starter for us, so we trust in his ability to be able to continually, play at a high level. I thought Chris Ford, gave us maybe the best 15 minutes he's given us all year long. And that's aside from, the dunk and just his activity on the defensive end. He had 2 rebounds, I think, in the game, but it felt like he was always around the ball, making positive plays. We still like how Trey's coming along, and we know TJ's always going to get out there and compete, right? And I think those guys got to continue to just be with us and continue to work, because when they're out there and competing and they're flying around and they're defending, I think it just allows us to play at such a better level. Coach,
you held them to 32 points in the paint. How did you feel about your team's interior defense and just your defense overall?
It's hard. They do a really good job of utilizing Green, utilizing Nelson, and I thought there was a couple stretches to start the game, and even when they kind of came back in the game where they were trying to get some post opportunities, and I thought we were pretty good in that regard. I thought what really helped us was, again, the activity. Right, we had some bodies. We kind of walled some people up and made them shoot some tougher shots than they would have liked, right? And Mike Green had 3 charges in the game, just being willing to kind of push your chest there and make a tough shot. And I thought our guys did a nice job of that in the paint. Cohill's a hard guy to keep out of the paint. They had 10 fast break points at the half, only 6 in the second. I thought that was key because, again, those add up as paint points as well. So I think it was a combination of all those efforts that really allowed us to slow down their paint attack.
Coach, can you speak on the team's transition game, especially on fast breaks? I mean, you guys are like to go at a slower pace from time to time. It seemed like you guys pushed the pace a lot. Was that in your game plan today, or is that just something that kind of happened when you guys were forcing those turnovers in that second half?
You know, I think sometimes it's you can only play as fast as you can think and organize, and so sometimes if we're not thinking or organizing well, then we want to make sure we are. But I thought, like, even against their pressure, or even when we had opportunities out on the break, I thought we did a good job of running to space and playing in space and making simple plays. You know, sometimes I feel like when we get break opportunities, we try and make them as complicated as humanly possible, and that is not always a good feeling as a coach. But I thought today we really kept it simple, and we made good decisions at that pace. And when you see guys doing that, then you're more comfortable with them, you know, getting out and getting some of those opportunities.
Coach, you guys were down 4 at halftime. What did you tell the guys in the locker room to keep the energy up coming into the second half, and you guys dominated the second half?
I mean, they kept the energy up, and you know, I think that what we talked about was you know, trying to just play a little bit smarter. Felt like in the first half, the difference in the first half, you know, we gave up two baseline out of bounds layups that were off, you know, formula or scouting report errors. I thought that, you know, we missed some easy layup opportunities that we didn't take advantage of. You know, Steph missed one on one end, they made a 3 in transition on the other. So I thought there was some just lack of execution and some boneheaded type stuff that didn't allow us to have a better first half, and I thought we really cleaned that up in the second half.
Could you speak on Stephon Walker's development throughout this game? He struggled a little bit in that first half of play, but really started to find his own in that second half, especially knocking down that 3 in that midway point of the second half. So can you speak on how he kind of grew as that game went on for you guys, especially playing in, you know, arguably one of the first big games for him this season against the top team in the Horizon League?
Yeah, you're not going to like my answer. I didn't think Steph was really as urgent as he needed to be tonight. And, you know, in the first half, he had a couple layup opportunities that he didn't complete. You know, there were a couple of defensive breakdowns. And I was talking to him, you know, at the last 2 minutes of that game. He was kind of standing next to me, and I'm like, we need you to be more urgent, right? If you're going to be in these moments as we come down the stretch of the season, like we need you to be ready to go. And obviously Nelson and Green are 2 terrific players, 2 all-conference level players. But we have a lot of faith in Steph. You know, he's obviously earned the opportunity to be a starter as a freshman, which is, you know, not always the norm. And, you know, he obviously makes a lot of contributions to our team, but we also need him to continue to raise his level because he's played a lot of minutes and he's going to be in a lot of big situations here coming down the stretch. And, you know, and he understands that. Like, one of the things that's great about him is, you know, he's very self-aware. You know, he doesn't always want to hear it, but who does? But I think deep down he knows that, you know, he's got to do a little bit better or maybe be a little more urgent at times to be able to really help his team. And he's a terrific teammate. And so he wants to do that. But sometimes, like all of us, we try to see what we can get away with. And against good guys, you can't really get away with much.
Coach Cleo Spear, 15 points, along with 4 blocks. He is a graduate senior, so he will be leaving at the end of the year. Can you just mention what he's been to this program, to this year, to leadership?
Yeah, we still have some more games to go. So before we write his obituary, we have some more games to go. You know, I thought he played great tonight. I thought he really, you know, he was everywhere, it seemed like. And, you know, I'm going to go back and review some of those calls to see how he could do a better job of not fouling there. You know, and see how we can help him not maybe get in some of those situations. But, you know, even he came back in the game late and you know, made that tough turnaround at the end of the shot clock. And that's what we said in the huddle. Like, okay, you can't control what happened with the calls, but now there's 3:39 to go, and your team still needs you to be engaged. Like, we can't be worrying about, you know, what happened in the past. There's still possessions to be played, and I thought he did a great job of that. And I think that's one of the biggest things for Khalil as he's been here is his growth in getting to that next play, right? Like, you're a good player, you work really hard, you know exactly what we're doing offensively and defensively. Like, when you stay committed and you stay engaged, it just makes the game easier for others. And, you know, tonight he certainly did that.
Thanks.
That's good.
Thanks, Coach.